Well, good evening, everybody. I'm glad that you are here, whether you are in person joining us for this confirmation orientation or whether you are online right now. I am sincerely glad that you made the time and the effort to be here for this confirmation orientation, because no matter if this is your first year being in confirmation or you are a pro and you've been here 2 years, 3 years, or this is your fourth year, it's still important that we'll be able to do this, especially now, because we're just in a really, really different time. And we want to make sure that everybody knows what's going on and how we're doing things, and at least give you a chance to answer or ask any questions that you might have so that we can answer them so that we're all on the same page. Really quickly, before we officially kind of kick it off with a prayer, if you are joining us online, the best way for you to ask questions is through the chat function. So if you have something to say or a comment to make, type it in. I have my laptop set up here, so we'll be able to field any questions that come to us online. Likewise, people who are in person, if at any point, because we're just a nice number tonight, if there's something that doesn't quite sit right with you or you have a question about, just raise your hand, we'll make it informal and conversational if there are any questions that come up from anybody who's joining us here. So with that, let's actually join our time together tonight with just a word of prayer. And we pray. Gracious God, we do give you thanks that you have blessed us and that you have enabled us to gather in this time, in this place, albeit in new ways, to continue to grow deeper into our faith, to continue to live out the call of Jesus to love our neighbor and to serve those in our community. Be with us tonight as we hear and learn more about what confirmation looks like, and bless all of our Bethlehem families that are in this journey together. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. So really quickly, I always kind of start off in the same way, because I want you guys to know what confirmation is, especially if this is your first time joining us, and to be reminded what confirmation is if this is not your first time joining us. And so confirmation is an affirmation of your baptism. That's the technical thing. So for most of you, I think almost all of you, we ask this. You were baptized, and most of you were baptized as kids when you were very, very young, so you have no recollection or memory of that. As part of that baptism, though, your parents made promises to you. And your parents promised that they would help you to grow and understand the Christian story as they were empowered, and your church community made those same promises, your sponsors made those same promises. And now in confirmation, it's really, you are at an age where you are exploring this aspect of your faith, and you are the one then who will make promises, should you choose to be confirmed at the end of our time, to continue to move forward in this community, in your faith. Confirmation, though, is not like school. Please, 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 please do not think of this like school. Parents, if you went through confirmation like I did, and you took tests like I did, and you had to fill in the blank like I did, and you could fail a test like I did in confirmation, it seemed a lot like school. That's not what we're trying to do. Our faith story is a way of life. It's a way of living together. It's a way of being in community centered around Christ and Jesus' ministry to everybody. It's about forgiveness and grace and mercy. It's about attending to our spiritual life as part of our health and wellness. It's about walking deeper in our faith that can actually address the great needs and issues in our world. And confirmation is just really getting at this on one step deeper. And so that is what we're looking to do as part of confirmation. So just quickly transitioning from that, though, we need to do this in an orderly way, because there's a lot of families and we want to make sure the process goes smoothly for everybody. And the very first thing that families need to do is actually register. So I'm hoping that most of you have already done this, whether you're here in person or online. It's super easy to do. You'll go to our website. If you haven't done this, you'll click on the Get Involved, then you'll click on the heading for youth and family, and then you'll be able to click on the registration component for confirmation, and there's a video, there's the registration form, there's a calendar with all the events and the dates that you would need to know. So please, if you haven't registered, please do that as soon as you possibly can. Communication is so important, especially during the craziness of a pandemic, where we are significantly adapting our programming to meet the needs of people, to continue to walk in our faith, but do it in a slightly different yet safer way. So communication, if you have not yet signed up for our confirmation text messaging, and this is for parents, this is also for kids. So students, if you haven't done this yet, Melanie's going to leave this on the online screen for a little bit, and you have it here. You can take your cell phone out right now if you've not done this. If you've already done it, you're golden, you're good, don't mess with it again. It'll confuse it, you're fine. But if you haven't done this, do it right now. I would highly encourage you, because this is going to be one of the primary ways that we communicate with you. And most people, if you're like me, want their communications to go through text messages. That's how I'll see it right away. And so again, you can look at the phone image on here. You can see how you're supposed to set it up. The number that you're texting to is 81010. And then in the message section, you're actually typing in the @ sign, followed with CONF 18-19. That's the code that you need to enter in. And when you do that, if you've done that correctly, you'll receive a text message back saying that you are now signed up and registered for confirmation text messaging. I'm seeing some of our people in-house still working on that, so I'm just going to leave the screen up just a little bit longer. I'm looking for people. Are we looking good? Yes? Anybody need more time in-house? And again, just so you know that this is going to be recorded, and you'll be able to come back to this, and as Melanie will continue to send out information like this so you can get that done. All right, so second way is confirmation announcements. These will come out weekly on Fridays. They'll come to, as families, when you register, you put an email down. That's the email they're going to come to. We're going to take the email from your registration, put it into our database that we use for constant contact, and that'll shoot out every Friday to you. Now, these are going to be really important moving forward, because as you'll learn, or hopefully already know, but Matt will talk about in a second, part of our confirmation this year, there is an online component to it. It's our teaching time, which is actually all online, which you will do as families, but we'll get to that in a second. But I mention that now because you will receive links to that, not just through the text messaging, but also through this weekly email that comes out. So it really is important that you do sign up for that, and check your junk mail, because constant contact messages are notorious for ending up in your spam box. So there you go. But communication is so important. Those are the two primary ways. All right. Moving on, expectations. This is for everybody. Safety, worship, and participation. 3 expectations we have for you. So safety-wise, we want to create a safe environment, no exceptions. That's so important. Guides, we have adult leaders who work with our small groups. As a policy of Bethlehem, anybody that works with youth or vulnerable adults must submit to a background check. Those are being done. We have our guides doing that. There is no bullying in any format, because we do not tolerate that, because this is a safe place. If we have issues with that, of course, we'll be contacting families and talking to you directly, but I need to say that because you need to know that when you have your kids here, that this is a safe place, and we make every effort to maintain that safety. Also, when it comes to other expectations for safety, the health and safety guidelines are expected to be followed. And so when you come to church, as according to the Safer Gatherings team that met to help put all this safety protocol in place, we do follow the Minnesota Department of Health standards, And when you are in a location like Bethlehem, unless you're presenting like I am tonight, you are required to be in a mask, and you are required to maintain social distancing by families. And we'll work to provide the space for people to do that in-house here when your kids are here. And again, Matt's going to go through the format in just a little bit, but when you are here, those are the safety expectations. Families are also expected to worship together. This is really important. So the worship services at Bethlehem for this COVID time are slightly different. We have 4 services, 2 in person and 2 online. Both the in-person and online, they mirror each other as far as times go. Those are 8:30 and 10:30 on Sunday. The online premiere then, that doesn't mean that you have to worship then. If you want to worship on any other day than Sunday, we encourage you to worship online. The online services are available throughout that week and the weeks after, actually, if you want to go back to it. But they'll be posted on our Facebook site. They will also be accessible through Bethlehem's website as well. If you want to maintain your Wednesday schedule of worship, we would invite you to do that online. The reason that we have 4 services, 2 in person, 2 online, and both happening on Sunday, and then the online continuing throughout the week, is because of logistics. It takes us a lot of time to create our online content, and we simply do not have the capacity at this point to offer any other services but those. And we want to be good stewards of our time and of just the people who are comfortable attending. And so right now, just know that you can attend in person on Sundays, but you also can watch online anytime in worship. All right. Finally, participation. And I always say this, good news, God loves you. You do not have to be confirmed. That's great news, right? I mean, and I say that because, again, don't think about this like a class. Don't think about this like school. This is something that you as a family need to decide together. And that's where it needs to come from. There are plenty of people who worship here who are never confirmed. They weren't. Every year, we will have at least 1 or 2 who choose not to be confirmed because they have said, I'm not at that place yet. That is fine. I always tell people that you will get out what you put in. If you are coming in with an attitude of, this is going to be good, I'm going to make some friends, it'll be interesting, I'll hear some things that I haven't experienced before, we'll be able to serve and be in community together, it's not going to suck, it'll be great. If you come in with the attitude of, it's going to be awful, I really hate my parents for making me do this, I'm just, it's going to be like that, and it will not be fun. Good news, you don't have to be. This isn't a requirement in life. It's something you get to do, and that's how we want to develop this. So have a conversation with your family if you're on the fence about that, okay? 4th year families. Any 4th year families, 10th grade families here? Perfect, okay, couple. I know some are online, we have some here in person. So I'm gonna start with you guys. So this year, for you, it looks different than the past, and it also looks different from our 1st through 3rd year students. So some of the dates that you need to know, first off, Saturday, October 10th, 8:30 to 12:30 p.m. If you can, that's 8:30 a.m., 12:30 p.m., yep. If you can make this, put it on your calendars, make all effort to do so. This is a great opportunity that we have for this will be the 3rd year. We work with Katie Christensen, who is a strengths coach, who helps families walk through the Strength Finders process, where they learn about who they are, their strengths as individuals, how they compare as families, and how you can use your strengths to better serve and provide leadership, not just in church, but in your families, in your school, in your community. It's an excellent time for families to be together, to get to know each other on another level. It's an important process for our last year students. In the past, we've tried to space this out over the entire month and a half of confirmation that you have at the beginning of the year. That doesn't work as well, that we found, as a one-day retreat. So again, this is the only time it's offered. If you can make this work, lovely. You'll hear more information coming about this out. That didn't sound right. You'll hear more information coming soon. Family blessing. So we cannot do confirmation banquet this year. We cannot pack a bunch of people around tables with food. We want to, we can't. It'll be the first year in a long time that we've not been able to offer that. But what we are going to do is have a family blessing time. And it's going to be, we're developing it right now. It is going to still serve that function as for families coming together the day before confirmation to be able to have an experience together that will hopefully be very meaningful to you. And again, mark the date. The time will be coming out. That is on a Saturday. The next day is actually the service of confirmation. That's on October 25th. That's a Sunday. And again, the reason the time is not up there is because of this. We're debating on whether we have that as part of our regular service time or if it's a standalone event. We do have space issues because of our health and safety guidelines. And by that time, we need to know how many people are attending a typical worship service. And if there are a lot, then we need to make that a set aside, a standalone time. And I'm going to be asking 4th year or 10th grade families for your input on how many people that you want to bring and to get your guidance as we make some of these plans. So just so you know, we're thinking about this. We have the date scheduled so you can advertise this to your family and friends, but the details are going to be developed in conjunction with confirmation as we go through this year. Finally, with 4th year, 10th grade confirmation, you will be meeting on site. You do not have a hybrid option. We're going to be in the sanctuary, so we'll be well spaced out. But beginning next week, we have a large group, fun activity plan for everybody. And the week after that is when we officially kind of kick off our lessons. And 10th grade families, you are actually here at church 7:15 to 8 on Wednesdays. That's a lot. I need to look at this, and I have a bunch of kids making comments. None of them are important, so I'm not going to answer them. Moving on, Matt's going to take over now, and for 1st through 3rd year families, this is a chance for you to hear, if you haven't already heard, what your year looks like. Matt.
Thank you, Chad. Hello, everybody. Here is my face. Take it in. I'm just going to put my mask back on, otherwise I'll forget. Whoa, again, I'm never used to this. I just showed up on the screen up here, and it's got a delay, and it's just weird. Anyways, it's good to see everybody again. It's been a while. I have missed being in community. I've missed seeing you guys. I've missed doing stuff with you. I don't know if you've missed me or not, but I have missed you guys. So what's this going to look like this year? We've taken this as an opportunity. We looked at this. We said, man, we can't do confirmation the way that we've been doing it, the way we wanted to do it. And we said, let's do our best to make this an opportunity to try something new, to try something different, to simplify things, but to get everybody on the same page, doing the same thing, learning the same thing, and growing together, hopefully, in Christ, so we can just continue to grow in a relationship with Jesus. I mean, that's what we really want to do here. So whether you're in 1st year, 2nd year, or 3rd year, usually that translates 1st year is 7th grade, 2nd year is 8th grade, and your 9th grade is your 3rd year. You're going to be participating in story, service, and community. The purple one says service. It's hard to read on our screens here, but so story, service, and community are our 3 rotations. You will have the same theme as you go through those 3 rotations. So let's just take 1st year to start with. So 1st year, your first day that you guys come here, after next week, like Chad said, it's a big game night for everybody. We're going to be outside doing some socially distanced outdoor games. And then the next week when you show up, the 1st year will begin with story. So actually, you will not show up. if you're in 7th grade. So you will do the story part at home. Me and Chad have been meeting and brainstorming and working on some different teachings that we're recording ourselves and editing and hopefully providing some sort of unique teaching experience for you guys to do at home. There'll be questions that you can participate, have a little conversation with your family at home as you're going through that. There might be questions halfway through. You'll pause the video, talk about it, and then continue doing the video. There'll be a teaching from both me and Chad on each one of those. We haven't finished the first one yet, but we've recorded it all, and it's going to be, those teachings will run anywhere from 20 minutes to a half hour or so altogether. So that will be your confirmation time that week. And you can do that on a Wednesday night between 7:15 and 8 if you want, or you can really do it as a family whenever it works for you. So when you see story on your schedule, that's you at home and that's you doing the online portion of it. If we continue in first year, the next week you show up here to do your service. So the way services will work, you come to the church, and Melanie has been organizing some different service projects for us. I'll talk a little bit next about what the first one is. You'll come here, and as a small group, in your small group, you will do the service project that week between 7:15 and 8 o'clock. We believe those will be, well, I'm not sure what part of the building those will exactly take place, but we'll make sure you know exactly where you're going to be. So you'll come to the church and do a service project. The next week, when you will come to the church, to do community. You'll be up for community if you're in first year. The community portion is simply, you come to the church, you gather together in your small group. There'll be a room or an area of the church designated for you to hang out in your small group. You will begin the time with some highs and lows. You'll just go around the circle, talk about your week. This is a chance for your small group to really grow together, to really make those relationships, to spend time. You used to have just, at the tail end of a message or whenever me and Chad could kind of work it into the teachings, you would have time for your small groups. You're going to have a whole, 45 minutes to hang out together and spend time in community, talk about your week, share some highs and lows, and then there's some curriculum that the small group leaders will just lead you through to have a discussion on the theme, whatever theme we're on that week. So you'll go through that. If you just get through that really fast, there's also some possible games that you guys can do as a small group. And then just some other community building, some other activities that you guys can do as a small group to fill that time. If your group gets done with all that stuff and you're like, we don't know what to do, we're twiddling our thumbs, I will be there, and your small group can just come hang out with me in a part of the church, and I'll be running some sort of community time together, some sort of games or some time just to hang out until your parents come to pick you up. And then if you're in second year or third year, then your schedule just, follows a different rotation. But everybody's doing the same thing. Everybody's doing the same theme for those three weeks. What are the themes we're doing this year? If you go to the next slide for me. Oh, actually, I need to do that, don't I? Which one do I hit here? This one? There we go. The themes this year. Our first theme, it's hard to read that again on the slide, but the first theme we're doing is community. So we're spending the first 3 weeks on community. The story part will be all about community. The teaching part will be all about community. And the service part automatically it's about community because we're serving the community. And then, of course, the community part is about community, so that's an easy one too. But as you come together in your small group, you can either talk about the curriculum that your small group leader is leading you through, or you can talk about, the story time as well. The second theme we're doing for the 3 weeks after community is the story of Jesus. Just talking about Jesus and who he was. Chad's got some good perspectives on that, and I've got some perspectives on that, and we're just going to kind of share a bit of our stories and a bit of who Jesus was and let you guys kind of just talk about that. And then the third theme we're doing the following 3 weeks after that is God walks with us. So those are our 3 themes for the fall. And if you count that up, that brings us all the way to our time before Christmas, if you mix in some MEA and some breaks in there as well. So those are our themes this fall. And then in the spring, we'll have all new themes. And if everything's going okay, we'll continue to do this programming just like this. Before I get to just kind of the next part, is there any questions about anything I've said or during any of that time? There will be a Schedule A, a Schedule B, and a Schedule C. Year 1 is Schedule A, Year 2 is Schedule B, Year 3 is Schedule C. It's all online. You can see it, so you'll know what you're doing. You'll be at church for 2 weeks, and you'll be home one of the weeks, and everyone's got a slightly different rotation. Next slide here is... This is part of the service part that Melanie has been working on. For our first, when you come and do the first service project, when you're here, this is what you're going to be doing. You're going to be helping out with Homeless Helping Homeless, which is a program that the church has been partnering with for a little bit already. Since March, I think you said, Melanie. The quilters have been partnering with them. And so basically, we wanted to let you guys know that we're collecting food right now. So anytime now, next week or Sundays or whatever, we need you guys to bring in food so that we have food to sort and then give to Homeless Helping Homeless. There'll be somebody from Homeless Helping Homeless here during your time of service for your first one that will talk to the kids, and we'll let you know kind of what they're doing and give you kind of a spiel about how they're helping people. And then you'll get to sort some bags of these food bags, and then they'll be the ones that will be distributing them to the people that they're in contact with. So you can bring them to the church. There's a bin just right as you come through the doors on the right-hand side there by the couches. You can just leave your food all there. So that's this first service that we're going to be doing when your group gets to the service rotation. Lastly, for any of you guys, we have had a senior high service and learning trip. We had to cancel our trip to Denver this last year for obvious reasons. Anybody who's in high school is allowed to go on this service and learning trip. This year, we're contemplating and thinking about doing one in the Boundary Waters this year. I've led trips to the Boundary Waters before, and it was life-changing. It was an amazing experience. I had never been there before, but you get to grow in community with each other. You get to see God's creation like you have never seen it before. I woke up one night, I saw about 1 billion fireflies, and I felt like I was on Pandora, like from that movie. Yeah, what was that movie? Avatar. It was crazy. It was absolutely beautiful. And then you work together as a team. You have to set up camp, break down camp. You're carrying canoes over your head, and so this is something we're thinking about. We haven't said we're doing it, but this is something we're thinking about that we might be able to do. Stay socially distanced, stay a little closer to home, keep the funds down because we're not going to be able to do as much fundraising this year. And that sort of thing. So just wanted to let you guys know that we're still thinking about the high school trip. And we just kind of want to gauge your guys' thoughts and ideas about a Boundary Waters trip. So if you think that'd be really cool, come and talk to me or send me an email. And if you're like, I don't know, maybe not, then we'll keep thinking about it, and hopefully something will come up, and we'll keep going with that. So there'll be a couple of fundraisers we're going to try to do this year. We'll probably do the wreath sales during Christmas, and then there's a big plant fundraiser, plant sales, flower sales in the spring. And just those two fundraisers, we can do them socially distanced, and you can raise a lot of funds just by doing those two fundraisers. We'll try to do some other ones too that we can remain socially distanced as well. So just wanted to give you guys a little bit of information about that too, in case you're interested in any of that. Are there any questions about that? Okay. I don't think I have anything else to say, Chad, so I'll give it back to you. I don't see any questions, I don't think. I don't know.
No, there's a bunch of yahoos talking on our YouTube channel here. All right. So there you go. This is your last chance, though. So anything that we've covered that wasn't clear, for people who are here in person, for people who are online, now is when we really need to know, because we want everybody to be on the same page and not confused when we begin. Next week, 1 week from tonight, 7:15, everybody is here at church. We have come up with an idea of something fun. Now last year, it was zombie apocalypse tag. It's not going to be that cool, because nothing could be that cool. This is still cool, but nothing. I'm sorry, I was living out my childhood fantasy last year, running from zombies. It was so much fun. It's not going to be that, but we are doing another type of large group game that we can have our individual groups be a part of outdoors, weather permitting. If weather is not permitting, we can easily move into the sanctuary and spread everybody out, and it would still work. So everybody's here next week, 7:15 to 8. Following next week, that's when the rotation schedule starts. So again, please make sure that you download, print off, have on your phone, have on your calendar your schedule. If you are Schedule A, B, or C, if you are 4th year or 10th grade families, you are always here in the sanctuary. And that's where we are right now. Question, Heather? Good question. When do they find out who their guide groups are? When we have everybody registered, normally it takes some time for that for everybody to get through the process. And so we use next week as a time to kind of let the last people do that. We will try to send out a confirmation announcement this coming Friday with probably a very good rough estimate or guess on an early draft of our guide groups. Yep. If you were already in a guide group, if this is not your first year, we try to keep our groups the same. If there is a reason that will not work for you, you need to let us know. Otherwise, we try to maintain and build that community. Thank you. Good question. Anybody else? Not the parents every Wednesday. I'm going to communicate with you separately. Yeah, right? No, not the parents, just kids. But I am going to be asking our 10th grade families in general for your input as we put some of the stuff together, because I do need to know how many people you plan to invite for the service of confirmation to get an estimate of numbers. I do need to know some other details as far as how we work some things out. So I'm going to be asking for your input, but I can do that through electronic means. And Melanie, for everybody online, you can't hear that. Melanie just said, except for September 10th, the Katie Christensen retreat, the Strength Finders retreat, that's everybody. That's families. I'm sorry, did I say September? October. Yes, October. What's that? No, just parent and the confirmation student. Good clarification again. If you have younger children or older children, you don't bring them with you. Good clarification. Excellent. That's why we have this tonight. Good. Anybody else? And that will be the same for the confirmation blessing for 10th grade families, just the parent and the confirmation student. Perfect. Okay. If there are no other questions, have a wonderful evening. Thank you for being here, guys. I look forward. This is going to be an interesting year. It's going to be a fun year. We're going to be able to do some things that we've never been able to do, really focusing on the service element of our faith and the community building, as well as having a family interactive kind of confirmation experience that will take place around your kitchen tables or on your sofas or wherever else you're going to be. And that, to me, is kind of exciting. So I'm looking forward to getting your feedback and seeing how this year goes. So thanks, everybody, for being here tonight. We'll see everybody, all of our kids, back here a week from tonight, 7:15. Have a good night.